for this year? Fantastic. Anyone? We had said that we're keeping the meeting lively. Kindly, yes, use the emojis, raise your hand if you know the answer. Welcome, Ian. Robinson, would you like to give it a shot? Okay, yes, Robinson is not able to hear us right now. How about Jacqueline? Jacqueline, are you able to answer my questions?
I'm not really sure of the current mode. All I can remember right now is last year's, but let me not try. Yeah.
Fair enough. Joanne, can they make an attempt of this year's motto, district motto?
I had seen something on the page. I'm not sure. I really
Just give
can't.
it a shot.
Okay,
There's no wrong answer, really.
Was it something to unleashing potential?
Yes, that's part of it.
Yeah, I remember something of the sorts on our club.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you for the attempt. Baron, I don't know if you know the motto for this year. Perhaps you may want to give it a shot.
I might have to ask AI, just a second. So I see behind me here, there is unleash potential, build legacy, which is a call for us to be models of excellence. And that is the theme of the year.
Exactly. Unleash potential, build a legacy, model for excellence. Don't know, did I switch it? Now, today we have a very exciting session for us. We are going to embark on Canva and Design. We're going to embark on Canva and Design. Baron is going to take us through it as we anticipate your questions and participation into the meeting. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to the very vivacious, easy to look at, Baron Ochoa. Over to you. I think I froze. Did I freeze? Over to you, Baron. I hope I haven't frozen.
I think you have not.
Okay.
Thank you so much. It must be the suit that is bringing in all these compliments. Thank you. Just adding a bit of spotlight here. Thank you, Tracy, for the introduction to the session and for everybody for jumping in. I prospect that we'll have a good number of members joining in as we carry on. It's a Monday, so it's very understandable that there's getting back home, as well as the pressure of just it being a Monday. I understand fully. Tracy, I have one request. I'm not seeing it on my side, so I'll request you to support with it, which is sharing the VPPR backgrounds, like the one I have going on here, such that we have a bit more flair in the room. As much of an introvert as I am, I love theater and the dramatics and all. So it would be amazing to have a few more faces and the light, the fire all over the place to reflect the fire that we're here for. So good evening, everybody. Just first unmute and say something before we get into it, because what we are going to get into is it might require a pen and a paper and a bit of being very critical to observe. So let's just let loose for a bit, and you can share which club you're joining in from in the chat or what role you're playing. I see we have what role you're playing. Last time we had an area director here. We had I think it was PQD, so it's very important that we know who is here, so that we know that public relations is not just for the public relations officers, it's for all of us as Toastmasters. With that being said, we also have DTM Dean Robertson joining from District 56, which is Texas, USA. And I'm hopeful that we'll have a few more PRMs from other districts joining in. I think I see something in the chat. Is anybody, I think somebody has sent something amazing in the chat. Just before we get started. Or perhaps as designers, you prefer design questions. I can ask a design related question. Which is, how many of us know about the elements and principles of design?
I think I see.
District 114 is quite qualified. Let's wait and see. Let me get somebody else before I get you, before we choose choice. Tracy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can now hear you.
Looks like, okay. Am I still frozen on your side?
Your screen has gone blank, but you're able to hear you.
Looks like, okay.
Okay, we can see
How
you now.
about, is that better?
Yes, it is.
Okay, looks like I was speaking too fast. So, everybody, I still just want this question answered. So any hands that can go up, how many of us know something about, besides Tracy, just for a minute, besides Tracy, how many of us know a bit about the elements and principles of design? As VPPRs, have you ever heard about them? Yes, John, you've heard about them?
Yes, I have. I did design in my undergrad, and we learned about balance, harmony, things like repetition and space, whether that's negative and positive space.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Would you be okay with sharing with us why they are important?
They, I'm not sure how to explain it, but they bring the design together. Whether that's balance, it shows that something is probably well, what's the word? It's well even out. That's maybe in shape. Some things you see they're symmetrical, some are asymmetrical, some are what's the word?
Symmetrical.
Symmetrical, some, yes. I think those kind of, they help the design just come together and be easy on your eye.
Thank you so much. Sounds like the word of the day is easy on the eye. So we'll work with that. Thank you for sharing that. And now I feel like I'm in the right space. So I'm going to share my screen a bit and we'll continue to engage towards that. Everything that Joanne has shared is absolutely right. The elements and principles are the building blocks of all our graphics, all our design, be it working on a newsletter, be it working on a flyer, be it a billboard, newspaper, whatever you do that involves design, involves the elements and principles of design. And these are very important for us to know as graphics designers. So the first testimony I have for us today is, I've been in Toastmasters for 4 years. Well, Toastmasters 3 years and Gavo for 1 year before that. And before I joined Toastmasters, I had never designed a flyer. I can attest to that. I did not know what design looked like. So whether you have designed before or not, this is the right space for you to get started with those fundamentals, what you learn through the session will have you as an expert in a very short time. With practice, it will have you as an expert. So thank you so much, Joan, for highlighting that. So today we are going to discuss 3 points. At least my segment will be 3 points. The first is going to be the elements and principles of design. The next will be us going through the Toastmasters brand manual and where you can find that. And the final one will be the essentials of Canva. Where do you find the fonts? Where do you find the images and all these elements and principles we shall talk about? So let's get started. Let's get the show on the road. The first thing about the elements and principles, the first thing about the elements and principles is, we'll start with the elements on this side. So elements essentially are the building blocks, right, of any design. And then the principles are how you put those blocks together, how you arrange them, how they work with each other, how they look like with each other, is the elements, is the principles. So when we talk about elements, we're talking about things like line, of which a line, like anybody knows, when you're drawing, you start with a dot, and then when you stretch it out, it becomes a line. Part of lines, we can have curved lines, we can have dotted lines, we can have double dotted lines. Tracy, kindly assist with the Zoom master duty of admitting. So we can have the dotted lines, we can have all those different details, and that is where it starts from. So then we have shape, and the shape is a two-dimension enclosed area, anything that is enclosed. For example, a triangle is a shape, a square is a shape, a rectangle is a shape, a star is a shape, like the one we have on the screen. When you add that shape a bit of dimension, for example, when you have a square and then you turn it to a cube, adding the 3D aspect of it, then it becomes a form, right? Becomes a form. After the form, with the next we have is color. As you work on your designs, you might realize that Toastmasters has different colors. We have the blue, we have the maroon, we have the, what is it called? Happy yellow, the white, all those are colors. And these colors have different hues. So you have the neutral color. All colors usually start from 3, RGB, the primary colors, which is the yellow, the red, and the blue. And when you mix blue with yellow, you get green. When you mix yellow with red, you get orange, and you mix orange with blue, you get purple. And that is how all colors are made. The further you mix these colors, we get into from the primary color wheel, we get into the secondary color wheel, the tertiary color wheel, and we get more colors happening. These are all elements of design, and this is a crash course by all means. So let's make sure that we go and read up a bit more on this after. So that is about color. And then next we have value. So value is the degree of the lightness or darkness of this color. If you have red and then you add a bit of white in red, it goes towards pink. So that is value. If you add a darker color, let's say you have yellow and then you add black to it, it becomes a darker shade of yellow. That is value as well. So how you create those gradients is value. Next, and this is a very important piece to know, spaces. Spaces are the distance and areas around, between and within the components of design. So there are 2 types of spaces. Once again, the areas around, the distances, all that, between, within, and around. We have negative space and positive space. For example, when you look at my frame on Zoom, I'm not sure, hopefully the PowerPoint is not covering up, but if you look at my frame, we have the space I'm covering, that is the positive space. Then the space around me that needs to be free for your eye to relax, that is the negative space. So both spaces are working in tandem. So if you look at the screen, the birds that we have here, the space that the birds are occupying is positive space. Then the space around the buds is negative space. Now, if you had these buds stuffed together like this, it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't look reasonable. If you painted something and the buds didn't have space to walk, didn't have a shadow, for example, that wouldn't make sense. So here is a definition of how white space and black space and negative space and positive space can be used. So the positive space is where your form or your shape or your line covers. The negative space is everything around that or between that. So you can see here that shape has been used to communicate something, space rather. So it can be used to create a visual illusion, or it can be used to create space, to show your eye where to focus, that type of thing. Now, an example is if any of us picked up a newspaper, you'll notice that, or a magazine, you'll notice that there's all these words, the columns, and then there's empty space between those columns, which is space for our eyes to breathe. Imagine the newspaper was continuous. And then next we have texture. So texture is the surface quality of an object that we can sense through touch. So there are flyers that you can look at and you tell, oh, that looks rough, even without, because the eyes know what texture looks like. The same way you look at a rough wall and you will touch it and you will have already known what it would feel like before you touch it because of the texture it has. Those are all elements of shape and design. Tracy, just an alert while we are at it. Tracy is our PR assistant, so I keep seeking her assistance. Kindly show me when the time for elements is done such that we move to elements and principles, so that we move to the brand manual. So once again, to retort, these are the elements of design. The elements of design are the building blocks, what you put together to make a design happen, because it doesn't come from thin air. You have to draw a line or you have to draw a shape. You have to fill it with color. You have to give it dimensions such that, like a human being, it's in 3D, right? Physically, it's not 1 or 2D. You have to give it the value. There's the space that it fills. All that is important. Then next, we go to the principles of art and design. In the principles of art and design, the first one is balance. And balance is the distribution of objects, colors, texture, and space, all these elements. Balance is how you distribute them. And here we have an example of the Taj Mahal. And in the photograph, you can see how the water body is symmetrical, which means it is streamlined. It's directly the same. I am not finding the word, but I can't find the word, please. I'm sorry for that. So you find that there's a way it is aligned to balance out, to match, right? You'll find that it has the same exact measurements as the building. So we have symmetrical balance. That means when elements are used on one side of the design are similar to the ones on the other side. So when it's balanced. Then asymmetrical is when they are not balanced. For example, you want one side of the flyer to look heavier than the other side. So that's when they are not balanced. So this painting is asymmetrical because you can see that on one part, there's a lot happening, and on the other part, there's not much happening. And then we have radial balance. This is when the elements are arranged around a central point and may be similar. So here it's radiating out. It comes from the word radial, like peacock's feathers. Next, we have emphasis. Emphasis is about the way the design catches the attention of the viewer. When you look at a flyer, what is the first thing that catches your attention? Do you notice that a lot of our themes are bold and big, right? They have a lot of emphasis. We've done it in that way. Next, we have movement, and all of this will come back when we are looking at when we go to Canva. We have movement, so how do things flow on your flyer, right? How do things flow on your flyer? So when somebody's eye looks up here, where does it go to next? Where does it go to next? Where does it go to? How does it move depending on how you've used your elements of design and your principles? Sounds like rocket science, but it will make sense as we keep practicing. So then the patterns is how we arrange these patterns, how we arrange these different elements. Let's say you have a hierarchy. Let's say we have the president and then the vice president and the prime minister on one flyer. Are you going to make the picture of the president the same size as that of the vice president and the prime minister? You will definitely have to make for the president a bit bigger just to show that that authority, that position that they hold is a bit higher than. And that is how you use design, that is how you use patterns to send a message. You can also decide to put them at the same level to show that they're all in the same leveling. So that is about pattern and repetition. Then rhythm occurs when one or more elements are used repeatedly to create a feeling of organized movement or visual tempo. So a bit about this, we'll share this website to the WhatsApp group or to the chat as well. Then proportion is the relative size and scale of the various elements of the design. For example, you are not going to have a picture that covers 2/3 of the flyer, right? Or imagine I was speaking and then I was like this covering up all this space on the screen. So you have to balance the space out. So you won't have the picture of the Toastmaster of the day covering 2/3 of the flyer, then the rest of the information is squeezed aside there. Variety is the use of the different elements to communicate a message or to capture a viewer's attention into a certain direction. And finally, unity. How do these factors work together? For example, you want to use words, but you also want to use images, but you also want to show, for example, you look at this number 5, which highlights, it's bolder than the rest of the words. So it's the first thing you're supposed to look at. It's telling you that, hey, 5, and then everything else flows. So how do you make these things work together? Right? Why do these words appear smaller than these ones? They are communicating in tandem that, hey, this is the most important, then this is the next important, this is the other information, and that's how it goes. So those, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters and guests, are the elements and principles of design. Next, and I'm going to specifically Google search this such that we all know how to find it. So next is the Toastmasters brand manual. And we have a new one, 2025 manual. So it's the one that we shall be taking a look at today. You can easily find it by a quick Google search, and we're already here. Right? So this is the new Toastmasters brand manual. And with this new manual, what you'll see is just a few things about how Toastmasters would like to be communicated as a brand. So we are going to look at the core values, the brand promise. So that's the brand platform, the voice and tone of Toastmasters graphics, the visual guidelines. What should it look like? How should the logo look like? What logo should you use? How should the colors look like? How should the gradients look like? Pathways, logo, and all that. And then we have images. We have quite images. What images should you use? What type of photography? What type of phrases can you use? Then where can you find these other resources? Right. So what time was that for? Was that for?
For the element, ending of the element, we are entering the Canva setting now.
The brand manual?
Yes, you should conclude the brand manual and then you enter into the Canva session.
Okay, let's see how to conclude while we get it started. Right, thank you so much, Tracy. So we'll see how to take this in stride. So this brand manual will help you understand how to communicate Toastmasters. Integrity, respect, service, and excellence are our core values. Our brand promise is empowering individuals through personal and professional development. And all this should sieve through in our communications. The voice and tone of how we communicate. One, the personality that we give in our tone. I would call on us to read this document because we can't go through all of it conclusively in this meeting. But the personality has to be one that shows that we're engaging, we are welcoming, we are vibrant. That's what we want to make communication look like, because that's what communication is. We learn best in environments of fun. And that's also Toastmasters' personality, as we can see somewhere here. All right. The next is the voice and tone, which is part of it here. Professional, universally understandable, clear, succinct, internationally friendly, warm, friendly, and respectful, right? This is the tone that all our graphics, that's why you would prefer somebody smiling, somebody on stage speaking, rather than somebody sulking, unless it is called for by the theme and yeah, by the theme. So jumping into the visual guidelines, the first thing is the logos. This is the Toastmasters logo. We can use it in grayscale. We can use the white version. And then we are not supposed to have it at the very corner of the flyer. We have to give a bit of space. Very important. You can download the logos here as well. So this document, once you search for it, you'll be able to find all this. The logo word markup, not too necessary, but you can use it as well. The next is other logos you can use. 1924, where leaders are made, all these are available to us. The Centennial logos are also still being used. So you can download here. When you click here, it will take you to where you can download the logo for your district. So those are the 100 years celebration logos. And next we shall go to how to use the logos. The correct way to use logos is you can add words down below, right? What is not allowed is putting the logo in perspective, disproportionately scaling the logo, changing the proportion of the logo, changing certain elements of the logo like the colors, the shapes, customizing the logo. For example, you change here and put your club's name or your district name. That is all not permitted. Changing the colors, putting the logo on colors that aren't the color palette. For example, you see how we have this logo and behind it is green. Then we have the white one, and then adding elements to the logo, and all this is not permitted. So we are supposed to use the logo as is, right? So we can just add our brand name to the side here or to the bottom here, but the logo remains untouched. Next is the colors that we use. So our color palette has basically 4 main colors. We have the primary colors, which is loyal blue and true maroon, and the secondary colors, which is cool gray and happy yellow. So notice that these are secondary colors, right? Secondary colors, except for happy gray, can be used as a background together with loyal blue and maroon. But the happy yellow should not be used as a background. It should be used as an accentuating color to complement the white color that we use. So when you download this, you can be able to grab this right here and copy it, and then you will throw it into Canva where you'll get the accurate color. Some gradients for you to use are available below here as well. So that's the blue gradient, that's the orange gradient, the maroon gradient, the gray gradient, and a few more transparencies here. So when you see somebody using this or one of these, don't feel like they are not being compliant. They're able to. They're allowed to do that. Pathways logos are also available for us to use. A few badges, if you're if you are going through, if you're creating, let's say, triple crown logos or level finish logos, you want to add the badge of the pathway that the Toastmaster has completed. So these are the badges, which you can just click down here to download. And next we go to the fonts. We have a couple of new fonts that have been added to the Toastmasters brand manual, but the main ones remain the main ones. We have for headlines and the main headings, Gotham and Montserrat, which is a free alternative. So these two all look good. You're allowed to use Gotham Condensed as well, which looks a bit different. You're allowed to use that. And for other communication, which is not the main logo, you're allowed to use, you're called on to use Myriad Pro, Source Sans, which is an alternative, Corinthia, and Luxurious Script. So you can download all of this right here, but they're also available on Canva. Anything outside these fonts is not allowed. For example, if it's congratulations and then it has all the flair and they're looking like, it's not allowed, it's not permitted, it's not compliant. Of course, there won't be policing happening, but for the sake of brand compliance. Then images and photography, we're allowed to use images from meetings because at the beginning of meetings, we're supposed to read a disclaimer for members to allow us to use their photos. There are also photos that Toastmasters International gives us here that you can download. Sometimes it's better to use your meeting flyers, but use photos of people looking engaged. It should reflect the Toastmasters environment where people look engaged, empowered, and supported, right? So these are the types of photos. One thing you want to do is appeal to your audience. For example, what is the complexion of a majority of the people in District 114? I definitely expect that Ethiopia would have a different complexion of the people on their flyers. Tanzania as well, depending on the audience. The same way if you were in Asia and you used a photo of a South American, it would sort of look like, what audience are you speaking to? It wouldn't make the most sense. So be very sensitive as far as that goes. Logo placement. So the logo can be placed not in the middle of the flyer, but you can have it at this corner or at this corner as well. So it can be at the top or it can be on the other side of it. For corporate, there are also a few guidelines for how to use them in corporate settings, but you'll be able to find more details in this document. Phrases like find your voice, relax, present confidently, 100 years of confident voices. These are phrases that we can use that bring more attention to what we are doing as Toastmasters. So you're welcome to download this document and have a look at it and the resources that come with it. And Toastmaster Tracy had told me about our time being fast spent. So allow me to transition to Canva. So while we are there, please input any questions that you might have gotten from the segment so far into the chat while we load our Canva. Any questions, anything that you've picked up on, anything we might have rushed through? And for everybody else who is joining in now, thank you so much for joining. So far, we've gone through the elements and principles of design, as well as the brand manual for Toastmasters International, all of which you'll be able to get the links for, access
Hi, Byron. We're not able to hear you. As we wait, yes, Robin. Yes, go ahead.
I have a question regarding using pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Can we, apart from people, can we use pictures for other items? For example, I can see in the chat box, the backgrounds are have the
Yeah.
image of fire. Are we allowed to use other
Yes.
images apart from people?
According to the brand manual, it is advised to use pictures that simulate people in a meeting having a good, well, quote unquote, a good time interacting with everything that's happening in the meeting. It is not advised to use elements such as, maybe, for example, you want to talk about, the TMOD wants to talk about how to prepare a good barbecue. It is not advised to have the barbecue set at the back. Otherwise, someone would look at a Toastmasters meeting poster and think that this is where we go to prepare meat. Yeah, exactly. So, yes, things like that, things of nature, any graphics, and especially no photos involving or including children. If you read in the brand manual, it states very clearly the pictures that are allowed and which ones are not allowed. So things of that nature outside of what the Toastmasters brand is about is usually advised to use. And I've seen it around quite often, but I'll leave that to Baron to continue with. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Tracy. I seem to have dropped off on one device, so my video has gone off.
No problem. Over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm hoping that it will jump back on in a second. But if we have somebody who is close to their laptop and could connect, then we could quickly go through Canva while I direct on this side, such that we take it in stride. Feel free to put a hand up if you're connected on your laptop and you can log into Canva, such that we don't have the delay of technology. Yes, Toastmaster Maggie.
I am on Canva. What do you need?
Looks like Tracy's sharing here. Tracy, would you like to
Okay.
share, or should we have it too?
Whoever is sharing should stay sharing. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for the quick action.
I would have let you to share so that you learn as well.
I think we could have Toastmaster Maggie share. Best part is she'll be
Okay, no
joining
problem.
from, I'm not sure which account, but she can share.
Okay, go ahead, Maggie.
I don't know if I can share. I don't have co-host rights.
You are now co-host.
All right. What do you need me to do?
All right. Thank you for sharing. So, could you expand a bit? Your screen seems, I don't know if it's on my side.
It's because I have 65 things which are open. Let me just close them.
No, besides the tabs, what is it called? Zooming in. Your zooms, your Canva seems to be packing a punch.
What do you need me to do? You can't see?
I can see, though it's quite small. Can everybody see it to a good scale?
You know, Toastmasters
All right,
are very
yes.
they don't respond.
I'm seeing a couple of emojis that say they can see it well. So
Okay.
I just wanted to, I'm not sure how conversant you are with Zoom, I mean with Canva, but what you could do is help us by opening, what does it look like to open a new document? That is one. And you know the size that we usually use, the Instagram post, so you could open that. and then showing us where the elements and the templates can be gotten from.
So if I was to create a new one, so these are all my projects that you're seeing now. Someone is calling me. Okay. So you want me to create a new flyer, for example, right?
Yes, a new document, whole new document, and then a new flyer.
So if I was to create a new one, I would come here to create a design. Now I've gotten lazy in Watabaruku because everything is, almost everything is there, but I would come here. I would say if it's an Instagram post, I would go to Instagram post. Okay. But this is giving me an empty one, isn't it? No, it's giving me good ones here. Okay. Over here, I know I have the Toastmasters brand, and I'm able to access the Toastmasters colors. I'm able to access the, see, shouldn't I choose one that has an existing design? Or you want a blank one?
What you can do is get a template, choose a template.
Okay.
And then with that template, explain to us where we can get.
So I would say, let's say I want one that's maybe training. Where am I on this page? This is not where I should be. Go home and say training. Then it will give me ideas of something to do with training. I choose.
So there's one, any of them can work. Yeah, I think that one's
pick,
perfect.
let me pick one like this one that has 2 trainers. As I say, for us, we have almost everything available. So this is an Instagram post with 2 trainers. That's why I've chosen it, for instance. So I open that. The first thing, obviously, is the brand colors. I would look at that, and I know that doesn't work. Maybe I'm happy with the design. So if I want to change that, I click on it. I go here to edit, and then I choose the Toastmasters blue. So
Yes.
that makes me happy, and I can replicate here and do the same. But because I wanted it a little bit different, maybe I can even pick the Toastmasters yellow. Obviously, I cannot use those colors. I would have to change this. Do you need me to do anything else here?
What you're doing is the right thing.
Okay. So what else do you want me to do?
So that is how we integrate how we use the templates. For example, where would somebody be able to find the text, right? If you were to create your own text, where would you find the text? And then how do you upload photos to your Canva?
So for the photos, first I would remove this one because I don't know who that person is. And then I would, just a minute, I would edit. I get my own photos. I have my own photos already uploaded. So I go to uploads. And then my time is up. Okay, why is it not letting me change that? Okay, so I go to uploads. Let's put DD as one of our trainers. So I'll remove this and I'll put DD there as one of our trainers. If I don't like the color of his background, I can clean it out and change the background, which I do by going to elements, probably pick something like this, put it in the background, maybe make it white. Now I'm showing off. Maybe make it white and then send it back. That way it will be in the background of his photo. And obviously that means this background, the color here would have to contrast a bit. We just pick red. And then transparency, make it full, make it dark. Something like that. Am I still in the meeting? Am I still in the meeting?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
the next
My
person,
God. And
the next
obviously,
person I would want to open it up.
go ahead.
Anybody who would like to find out where else anything is on Canva, I'm back as well. Where else anything is on Canva. For example, we already have some elements. Let me say you're creating a celebration poster. Where do you find all that flair, the round bit, the something golden, something to celebrate with? But while you're doing that, can we have some questions in the chat of where we can find anything else, at least for the next 5 minutes?
I need to make a note of the people in this room so that way, if I ever see them, they're the trainers, I'll just come and give them a hard time by not responding.
Today, I am very okay with you being my anger translator.
Yeah, Toastmasters, you guys are special. Anyway.
I can see Lorraine in the chat. Hi, Lorraine. Would you like to contribute?
Hello. Yes, I actually have a question. So you see when Maggie did the transparency thing, I didn't even know. Actually, some of the things she was doing, I didn't know they were there. So thank you for that. But so when you put that transparency and it almost looks grayish, maroonish, is that okay, or should it just be a solid color like that?
I can answer to that.
Okay.
Based on the brand, the brand manual that we had shared earlier, there are certain transparencies that are allowed. So if you're
Okay.
to create a transparency,
Mm-hmm.
it's best that it fits within those. So you can just what you can do is you can have the image behind, and then you go and copy the color code from the transparencies. If just Pastor Maggie, I think I can share at this point a bit. Am I still? Yeah, I'm still. Thank you so much. Thank you for holding the fort and being a very good anger translator as well. Yes, Joan, you can go on with the question while I get us in.
Okay, there's something Maggie did on removing the background. Do you have a paid version of Canva, or can we do that on an unpaid version?
Okay, I will comment to that as well shortly. So thank you so much. About the transparencies, as you can see here on my screen, here we have what this looks like and what the transparency looks like. So what you can do on Canva, if only I had a bit of that file, but let's use any of this. So let's do what Toastmaster Maggie did. So I usually go for an Instagram post square. The reason for that is because that size fits on Instagram, it fits on Facebook, it fits on WhatsApp, other than you creating one that fits on WhatsApp. And then when you try to share it to Instagram, it does not post all your information. I know that has happened to a few of us. So when you go for Instagram post and you've created that, so what you can do with these transparencies, once again, is you can just come, you can have this document here. So you can just come and copy this code with or without the hashtag. So you can copy that code, and let's say you have put a document together right here. Tracy requesting to maybe 4 minutes only, and then we shall hand it back to you. So what you have is any of these. Let's get an element here. So elements, let's pick a square, recently used. Let's pick this. So while we have this, we go to color, and then we copy paste the color, the color code. You just click on that, right? And then you drop in the color code that we had. So we've copy pasted it. So you can see that that is one of the grays that we had. So just for the sake of contrast, I'm going to copy this here. I hope you can see a bit of difference in it. So I'm going to copy that there. And I will go to our brand menu once again and pick a bit of a darker hue. So copy with the hashtag as well. And let's try to change this in color to the new hue that we would want to input. Right, so now you can see the difference between this and this, all within the same gradient. So what you can do is now, if you had wanted to use one of those as a background, you can just come and expand this, and it becomes your background. In the case that you want to create your own gradient with that one shape, then you can click on the shape. And then at the bottom here, we have gradient colors. So the first thing is you click on any of the gradient colors, then you click away, then you come back to the color again, because that sort of validates it. So now you can click here, and it gives you the option to edit the two different colors. So now you can come and input one color here. Then let's go and pick up the other color. So you've put that color here, and then this other one. Right, so now we've created the exact same contrast that we had on the other one, and that's how you can create a background contrast. So to really carry it faster, if you want text, you come to add a text box here and you drop it, just tap on it and it will drop something here where you can start to type your text. If you want to input any of those elements, for example, we have a meeting and I want to indicate the time. Instead of writing time, I just say time icon. It's taking a bit of a lapse there, but you just set time icon, and then when they come, you click on it and it jumps on the screen, which goes for everything else. If you want to have a clock, if you want to have anything else, you just do that and it will appear right on your screen. Any questions? The question of paid account. Yes, this is a paid account. And we've made the account available for VPPRs. it allows about 50 VPPRs, so we are close to that number, but we have a way in which we add you to a team. So if you, when we, I might not need to show it, but we have a way in which we add members to a team, and then you can access Canva for free, but it requires that you send us the account of your club, such that next year you can hand over that account and those files go to the next VPPR. But on a free account, it is not possible for you to click on the button for background remover and the background goes. I think that should be it. Toastmaster Robin Odiambo.
At this
Over to you.
point, if I may,
Okay.
at this point, before you continue, Robin, just 1 minute, I'd like to urge us to turn on our Canva and try to implement some of the things you're saying so that we can save on time and be able to share some of the posters we've already made with the rest of us at the group. Thank you.
Okay, straight to my question. Regarding the gradients, are we allowed to, let's say, use a gradient of 2 primary colors? Put maybe royal blue in one side and true maroon on the other? That is my question.
That is one of my favorite things to do. So I did that just today. So I'll just show you what that looks like. Yes, you are allowed to do that. And let's see some of the folders. There's a design here. So so if you have not had, and as VPPRs, this is very important information. As of Saturday, I believe it was, we have a new international president. We've had a handover, and distinguished Toastmaster Aleta Roshat is our new international president. So we have this coming out to celebrate her. And that now to your point, here we have 2 gradients, right? Is this what you're talking about, Toastmaster Robin?
Yes, that was my question.
Yes, so we have 2 different gradients here. So it's the same way when you go to the coloring. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a layer on top of it. I'm just trying to push away. I hope we've all done what Toastmaster Tracy was talking about. Go to your Canva and be able to create something. Just play with the elements or create a flyer. As we speak about it, as questions keep coming in, just create something in the background. Pick a template. You can go to Pinterest, you can go to Instagram, you see a template you like, recreate it. Because usually at concept is where a lot of things come together. So I had something there, but now when you click on this and then you go to the colors, then you will see that in my coloring, we had decided to put 2 different colors. So we had exactly maroon and blue, and then they blended. So you can decide on different ways in which it should look, but you're allowed to blend them together.
Baron, where do you get that for the gradient colors? Because I only have the gradient colors vertically. I don't have horizontal.
Okay, there's a bigger question there. Where do we get them? If you don't have a pro account, then you would
I
have to
the pro
click to
account.
this. So I need to answer for both, I think. If you don't have a pro account, you'd have to click on where we say it's solid links. Below that, there is gradients, and then you choose and input manually. If you have a pro account, the first thing is when we go to, let's just go back from this. Okay. When we go up here to brand, we already have our brand input, right? So we already have our colors input. When you come to color here, it will show you that because it's a pro account, we've already input the Toastmasters brand colors. And that's one of the benefits of having plugged into this. So you already see the hues are different here. So now for Toastmaster Maggie's case, where you already have a pro account and you have the gradient already loaded, when you click on it and you go to your color, you will notice these sort of the lines on top of the color, right? See the white right here on top of the color? that look like adjustment. I don't know what the word would be. So when you click on it, might not come the first time, but when you click on it the second time, it comes. So right below where you input the colors, it gives you options. It calls it style. So you can just decide and say, I want it to flow from this direction, flow from the other direction, or you can even click to add another color. So let's say at this point, we want white. Right? So the more colors you want, if you want more and more colors, then you can keep adding, but you see how it slowly dilutes. So when you just click on that color once again is where the color comes in, is where the ability to add that comes in. Toastmaster Magi, tuko pamoja?
Hapo tu in the deep end, yes.
Vizuri sana, in the deep end. All right. Is anybody else creating something? What is happening? Feel free to, you can put up your hand and request to share your screen so that we give you a live instructions and live feedback as you work. Is anybody creating though? You can just put your virtual hand up or something so that we know what's going on in the background. Right, I see a hand going up. Toastmaster Dan Odero, I'm curious to see what you create.
I'd like to nominate Maz.
Yeah. Yes, please.
I don't know if he's on the call.
Toastmaster Dan Odero is on the call. I saw Area Director Betty is here. I'm very curious to see what everybody puts together. Witty Shalwa from Entebbe Toastmasters Club. Would anybody like to share their screen and get some live feedback as they create?
I had nominated Maz. I don't know if they're still on the call.
Yeah, I'm still on the call.
Right,
Yeah,
you can kindly, yeah.
You had nominated me.
Yes, for the live feedback on Canva, you could share your
About?
screen and then we can go back to back on, we can go step by step on the poster you're creating. Yes.
Okay. I have a problem with my Wi-Fi at home. It's still down. I'm using my phone, so I've not been able to create, but I've been following every step. I think I'll be putting it to use afterwards here.
I think we're in trouble over here. Toastmaster Kelvin has his hand up.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, I have a question regarding gradient, especially for what do we call, let's say, images or even just images of people. Like, if I want to make the lower end of a certain objects to be sort of like colorless, so that when I put it onto another background, it seems like it's sort of like fading at the bottom, like it's seamless. I don't want a straight borderline in relation to the background. How can I do that in Canva? Can I share my screen maybe?
Let me give you permissions to do that. Kindly repeat the question while you do that.
How do I make, let's say, an image to sort of have like a gradient in itself? It's sort of like a white, black transparency, whereby it fades into the background. You see, normally when you just input an image to the canvas, or maybe the artboard for Canva, it shows you that at the bottom there could be a straight line to signify the border. And then I want that sort of like the bottom line or borderline not to be straight, but to sort of look like it's has a reduced transparency at the bottom. I don't know if I'm making sense. Sorry, Baron.
I think we would have to see, definitely making sense, but we'd have to see it to have that aha moment. Oh. Technology. So just a second, it's hanging on a little bit here. All right, we'll be able to get you to share in just a minute as this technology works itself out. Thank you for the question. Is anybody else designing or any other questions while we work hand in hand with the technology? Or
Sorry, Baron. I've shared an idea of what I meant on the chat.
Tracy, over to you. Seems like I'm having a bit of network of technology trouble.
Okay, let me just open the image. Okay, so I'm seeing your image and you'd like it to, this is how you'd like your image to look?
No, you see the bottom, it has a straight sort of like cropping, like a
A
straight
straight
line,
line, yeah?
yeah, borderline. But now let's make that, it's sort of like, instead of the line, it's sort of like fading to the bottom of it. Like it doesn't have to look like straight.
It doesn't have to be that straight, yeah? I think I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I may have a solution for you. Let me just open my Canva. There are a couple of ways to do this.
Would that
Have you
not
tried
be-
using a frame?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Or a text element, the elements that are on over there on the side.
Now, let me show you. Let's reveal a lot of secrets. Let me use your image here. Now, one of the ways that I go about it is by using a frame. The frame will usually make the image a bit less. Let me share my screen. A bit that line to be a bit less prominent. And then, as Maggie was saying, Maggie, would you like to share? Let me share, and then you can. Now, on the element side, you can just search here frames. And usually picture frames have a way to remove that kind of sharpness, depending on the kind of bottom you'd like. This is why we're trying to get you to share your screen so that you're able to see exactly what you may want to design, because I may not get it quite right.
Kevin is now co-host.
Oh, he is? Okay, fantastic. So you can just share your screen and then you can walk with you step by step.
Can you see my screen? Yes.
Yes, you can. Go on.
So use the frames like any.
And if you can use any frame.
Still
It's still a
straight.
bit sharp.
Yeah. There's a round raised though. There's a hand raised. I'm not sure.
John, do you have a question? Or is it to contribute to what you're trying to do?
Actually, I had a different question. So when he's done, I can pose the question.
No problem. Maggie, you had a suggestion?
Yeah, my suggestion was there are different ways you can do this. Either you look for an existing template that has something similar to what you're looking for, and then you play around with it. If you're using a blank one, obviously you're going to spend more time, in which case you can go to the elements. Are you changing the line on only the photo or only on the side, just to add like and something onto the frame? So I would go to
Okay. Like somewhere here at the bottom. Can you see my arrow? Yeah, somewhere around here.
So I would take maybe not the square one, the rounded one. Just go back, just scroll. No, you've gone too far. Back into the black ones. The black ones.
Oh, the black ones. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Elements. You mean shapes?
Yeah. Take this. Yes, there you will find things that you can play around with.
Okay.
You put it inside and then you can move it out of the frame. So let's take, you can take the circle if you want, or you can take
this one, right?
Or you can take that and then you push it. If you just want it curved a little bit, you take it to the side. See, there you are. You can play around with that.
Okay.
You can play around with that. If you had taken a square, then you would use that line that's up there. See where it's written Canva songs? There is the arc.
Okay.
Is that arc? That arc changes the shape, your square shape, to be rounded. And you can round until it actually starts to look oval. And then you can push it out of the screen so that part of it is off the screen. Now, if you just push it outwards, just push it outwards, push it outwards. No, the image itself, you're pushing it out of the frame.
Oh, this way.
Things like that, something like that.
Okay, makes sense.
And you can push it even further until you're left with almost just a small thing that's appearing there. But you don't want to do that with somebody's image. You'd rather do that with the additional thing.
Okay, thank you. I think I can play around with this.
You can figure out that, yeah?
Yes. Thank you.
But my recommendation would be to go for flyer that's already existing. The purpose of Canva is to make our lives easy. So I would not take a blank one unless I'm typing into it. I'll take one that already has some design and play around with them.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Maggie.
I
Alrighty.
could also offer. Baron here. Kelvin, if you're still share, could you share your screen just a bit? Or perhaps it's okay. Let me share mine. Let me use phone and share mine. Hopefully nothing that's not supposed to be seen shows up. It's a dangerous game. So I'm just going to share mine and we'll come to Pinterest. And one thing that I would like to show everybody is when you come to Pinterest, you can be able to look at different templates, right? So you can also take a walk around the streets of Pinterest, look at different templates, pick up different elements, and just choose, like this is conference ideas, the different design inspiration. So you look at those different elements of it and you pick up on them. For example, I have a board on which I just go online and pick up on Toastmasters flyers from other districts and just how did they do it? What ideas do they have? What are they running with? All these work for us, right? So you can look at this and say, oh, this is how they did it. This looks good. This looks that. Though sometimes you might not want to pick from the Toastmasters one. So you just, once again, just go back here and I have a flyer. I'll just Google search and say, I have a flyer that needs 10 people. I'll say 10 people flyer, and then I get the idea. So you can get templates from here as well, is really what I wanted to share. And now I'm done playing the dangerous game of sharing my screen. Back to you, Tracy.
Thank you very much, Baron. That was an interesting round of Russian roulette. Joan, if you have a question, you can go ahead. Otherwise, the floor is open to anyone.
My question was, are we allowed to use AI generated images?
I believe so, yes. On the poster, however, can be a bit tricky. Like I mentioned, what do you call them? All the brand compliant recommendations are all found in the brand manual. So if your photo ends up looking a bit too generic, it might not be advisable. However, I have seen if you instead would use your photos on presentations, like for trainings and the like, that is allowed. Your TMOD, what are they called? The presentation slides, that is allowed. As for the poster itself, I would steer clear unless it can really pass for a proper photo as recommended in the guidelines.
All right, okay. And there's something Baron talked about getting us the pro version of Canva. I see we received an email, but I'm not able to access it. I just accept the invitation, but it doesn't translate to my Canva.
Kindly reshare your email because we had sent those in July and there's an expiry date on those requests. So you could reshare your email even to the Zoom chat and then we shall be able to handle that for you.
All right, thank you.
The other question can go to Tracy and as well as we come to close it.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Robin.
I can share my screen.
Yes, hold on, let me see how to. Baron, you can help me with that. I'm not able to make them co-host.
You should be able to now.
Okay, a minute.
I don't know if you're able to see.
It's loading. Yes, I can see.
Okay, for example, you're able to see this poster that I once created.
Mm-hmm.
You can note that in the background, there is you can see there is another image in the background, right?
Hold on, let me
Yes.
zoom into.
So basically my question is this poster
Mm.
complete?
That's a very tricky
Over to you,
question.
Baron.
It's a very tricky question. What that looks like a house or something?
Yeah.
See, we are allowed to use we're not allowed to use landscapes and that type of thing according to the brand manual, but
Okay.
we are allowed to have something. No, please share. Please share. Let's keep sharing.
Okay.
Thank you. So we are allowed to have something in the background. You're allowed to have something playful in the background, and this.
Sorry.
I got
I
unmuted.
think he dropped off.
I got muted. We're not too sure about the landscape, but
Mm-hmm.
other designs can be allowed. For example, you see the dots that you're using, or you can have something like a skyline. It could be permitted, but you have it in the background where it's a bit subtle, and I feel like that one works.
Okay.
I feel like it works. Making it a bit subtle would work. But then my question is, how does it relate to the theme or the meeting or the flyer? I feel like it's a bit of a disconnect, because if you're talking about egos, then having a subtle background of the skyline in the background would make more sense.
Okay. So I'm allowed to maybe use images that are aligned to the theme.
Yes, you can align it to the theme in a way, like you can align it to the theme in a way. For example, if you had a meeting about fly high, then you're allowed to sort of have a plane or something, get creative with it. You're allowed to do that. I have something I want to share with you, but I just want to make sure that I'm not playing Russian roulette again. So you can end the share, then I share just one last thing as we come to a close. So there's a club that we've been in awe of, and hopefully we'll have them speak to us next month. We've had a conversation with them around it. It's a club in Sri Lanka. It's called Matale Toastmasters Club. And a lot of the VPPRs were out by their social media, their Instagram, I think it is. So if you look at their Instagram, look at how organized it is. Just look at the top here. They have their events. So this is what our open house looks like, and they uploaded all the photos. All new member photos are uploaded here. So you can see this is a new member orientation from 2021, 22. They have everything aligned here. Very organized social media. So we shall have them speak to us next month. And then what I specifically want to share with you is this. You see how they incorporated a plane? Fly higher, then they incorporated the plane, then they had at the bottom here something like a ticket, which shows passenger name, all first flight, something like that, the date, TMOD. So we're allowed to make those incorporations. It's just how you use them that works. Another thing perhaps I could share from them is just a bit of the creativity. Let's see. See how they share their theme, right? You are so close to success, how they put that together. And then they had the TMOD working on it, the TMOD name. So you're allowed to get as creative as you would like, really. The brand manual is not a document to restrict us. It's just to make sure that our brand is easily seen and appeals to the audience. So something like this. Let's see, there's one I just saw down here, the food, and then you can see the background in the background that reflects iftar. So that pattern reflects iftar, which matches with the theme. That's why the question was, what does it have to do with the theme?
Now that you have that one there, that one of iftar, I
Pardon?
don't. Now that I see that you have that one of iftar, the dominant color there is gray. Gray is supposed to be, is not the primary color, but it is now here showing as the main color instead of the usual. My thoughts.
No, contrary, if we open the brand manual, you would see that there was an exception made for gray. So let me just, in summary, let me just put that up, brand manual. So if we look at it, so this is the brand manual. And Tracy, I'm going to hand it back to you in less than a minute. Let me just shine a bit of light on this. VPPRs, if your brand manual link doesn't say you visit often, then we still have work to do. So it's taking a bit to load, but if you go to gray on the brand manual, you'll see the first statement below it is, while it's a secondary color, it's also allowed to be used in the ways you use a primary color.
And that's only for the gray, not for
Okay,
the yellow.
I'll just stop. It only for the it's gray, I think, but not for the yellow. That specifically does not apply to yellow. So while both yellow and gray are secondary colors, gray gets a bit of privileges of the primary colors that yellow does not get.
Okay.
Yes. We will continue to clarify it when we can have a discussion on the brand manual in the WhatsApp group. Since our time is fast spent, I will hand it back to our Assistant Public Relations Manager. Thank you so much for putting this together, Toastmaster Tracy, and thank you everybody for partaking in this bit of it. Final announcements, perhaps we have a new Toastmasters World Champion. Please share the links of the number 1, 2, and 3 winners of the World Championships to your club members such that they can see just how far Toastmasters goes. At district level, we are running the campaigns, that is the Medleys Awards campaign. So adding 5 new members to your club starting 1st August to the last day of September, 30th September, will earn you a few awards. We are also in that season of making renewals. So I hope your club has a flyer that is reminding, a flyer or some type of engagement of why we need to renew our dues. We also have the quarterly Golden Quarter Awards, and that one is about 3 things. So please check out that flyer and see what it says. And finally, Leadership Excellence Week is coming in October. Be ready for it. What else can I say? We have a new Toastmasters International President. So that and other information on the Toastmasters website is yours to find and share to your WhatsApp group. Don't wait for a poster to share something with your members. Share information, share what is happening out there. And maybe lastly, please put in articles, write articles to us, and we shall show you a way in which you can share with us, but write articles that will appear on the newsletter when the quarter is done. Thank you so much, everybody, and back to you, Tracy.
Thank you so much, Baron. Thank you, everybody, for honoring the invite. All has already been said. If it is possible, let's take a couple of seconds to show our videos for the final Fireside chat selfie. And then you can close the lights and I can send you home. I'm waiting for the videos to come on. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Robin. Joanne, Noah, Witty, we are waiting for you before you can switch off the lights. We need to go to sleep. Thank you, Nora. That was Nora. Who else? Maz, am I on your phone? Maz, rather. Kelvin, Carol, Witty, taking the selfie in 3, 2, say cheese, everyone, cheese. I saw that, Lorraine. A bit silly, but it's fine. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your indulgence, and I will see you next last Monday of the month. We will be collaborating with the very beautiful, the VPPR with the very beautiful Instagram page, and she'll be taking us through how to do that. So mark your calendars, and I'll see you back here same time next month. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you for coming. Baron, some music would be nice.
At this point, I'm just going to sing for everyone.